Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to part 4 season 2 of What If Midoriya Was an AFO Fan. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. Blood dripped onto a cold metal floor from a blade formed entirely of sharpened and hardened sludge. Hisashi towered above a pile of mangled corpses that belonged to common thugs that the League needed to cut ties with. Hisashi's form melted into a puddle of sludge that dodged an attack from those still left standing. Quickly, a thug felt a huge fist tighten around his neck, crushing it with a thunderous crack, whilst a massive arm wrapped in muscle fibers was emerging from a small sludge puddle behind the thug. Throwing the body to one side, the sludge scattered around the room recollected into a hulking physical form, and once again Hisashi made his new monstrous Namu shape known, flying up using a pair of wings that burst from his back. Hisashi opened his massive toothy maw and unleashed a torrent of flames upon the corpses and now screaming survivors. Once done, the metal chamber contained only the Namu that answered to the name Hisashi and obeyed only Izuku Midoriya. Master pleased. Hisashi is good at slaughter, yes. The hulking brute turned to look toward a door opening as Midoriya floated in, laughing and nodding. Yes, Hisashi, your performance was adequate. Next time I expect you to finish your prey off 10 seconds faster. Now be gone. I must train my upgrades. Hisashi nodded, giving a bow before transforming into a tiny orb of sludge with wings and flew away into Yujiko's lab. The League members started paying more active attention as Midoriya training was a rare occurrence. In fact, many of them had never seen him train and were eager to see what exactly his routine was. Hanging up his lab coat, Midoriya walked into the center of the room, his arms fully exposed, revealing surgical scars going all the way along his arms and hands. A newer, sleeker model of his claw pack emerging from a hole in his jumpsuit's back. The metal claws emerged from the pack, moving fluidly as ever. Slowly, 4 massive hatches in the floor opened, revealing 4 hulking Namu, each one branded a failure that wouldn't last the next 2 weeks anyway due to being highly unstable. Without warning, the rampaging monsters charged Midoriya, growling and screeching. Midoriya pushed 3 away, slamming them into each other and then ducking under the first blade-covered fist. A large slice cut across Midoriya's jumpsuit shirt, causing the teen to tut as he discarded it, revealing his torso. And more shockingly, more marks of intense surgery. The claw pack hadn't been made smaller, it was just now completely grafted into Midoriya's spine and back. Gasps, murmurs broke out amongst most of the League members, Shigaraki, Gyro, Yujiko and All For One being the only ones aware of Midoriya's enhancements. The cat being out of the bag, Midoriya reached for Namu with blade-covered arms and laid his exposed palm on the creature's back. It turned to face him with what most would swear was a look of fear as it slowly disintegrated into dust. The other 3 watched Midoriya reduce their kin to nothing but dust at a touch and attacked him, hungry for vengeance. Floating up, Midoriya surrounded the 3 savage Namu with a ring of telekinetic fire. Then, manipulating the flames, Midoriya split them up and got to work. The smallest of the 3 Namu, with quills covering its back and a jaw that always hung agape, was second to die. Attempting to use its quirks was met with confusion and failure. The 8 eyes of Midoriya's helmet glowed a bright red light on the Namu. Left vulnerable by Midoriya, the helm teen approached it slowly, as it looked at him as if he were the Reaper incarnate. Midoriya's claw pack claws began rotating, becoming a pair of small chainsaw blades. Midoriya walked away from what was left of the second Namu with blood staining the floors, himself and his claws. Midoriya began to split himself, creating 3 duplicates that surrounded the ring of telekinetic flames. As the fire dropped, Midoriya and his clones pulled the 2 Namu towards themselves, creating a powerful gravity well in the center of the room, ripping both Namu in half. One of the feral creatures was eviscerated by the attack, but the final Namu rapidly attacked Midoriya with its final breaths, tearing the teen's right arm off. Enraged, Midoriya turned and burned the monster to ashes with bright blue flames. Losing the adrenaline rush of battle, Midoriya fell to one knee. Some of the League were about to rush in, only to be stopped by Shigaraki pointing through the reinforced glass. The sounds of bones and flesh were growing, filling the room along with the pained grunts of Midoriya as his arm regenerated slowly. Midoriya growled to himself as he left the room, grabbing his damaged jumpsuit shirt and donning his lab coat. When returning to the observation room where the League members had gathered for the show, Midoriya was met with faces of disbelief. What? Never seen a guy with 6 quirks before? Midoriya lightly chuckled as he threw his damaged shirt to one side and searched through his locker for a replacement. People with multiple quirks, yes, but that was more than just quirks. Mid-or tactic kill. Seriously, what was all that, and how many damned quirks have you got? Gabai spoke up, deciding to be the one to voice everyone's thoughts. Oh, my upgrades, just a few surgical adjustments I requested. My chest is now completely reinforced internally, protecting my internal organs from damage, so I no longer need that heavy chest plate. My claw pack is now grafted into my spinal column, both reinforcing it and preventing me from losing my pack. As for the quirks, well, thanks to data gathered from my claw pack and some DNA from Nito, Ujiko was able to perfect a project he had previously worked on known as Project 9. So I can have 9 quirks if I want, but currently I just have 6. Telekinetic Wrath, Decay, Clone, Erasure, Lie Detection, and Regeneration. Midoriya naturally broke off into a monologue to answer Dabai's query and likely everyone else's questions too. A voice soon spoke up from a monitor as Midoriya finished his explanation. Speaking of Project 9, Izuku, Tamura, I believe that I cannot test you both any further with what we have here. So I'm sending both of you and Hisashi on a mission to truly test your limits. You will be eliminating something that could grow to be a thorn in our side in the future. You will be eliminating 9 and the rabble he has gathered, and should you feel so inclined, Izuku, you are free to steal any of his or his associates' quirks. Your claw pack will handle it so long as you desire it. All for one echoed over the monitor to the two boys, both nodding, Shigaraki responding with a simple yes, master. However, Midoriya responded subconsciously with a yes, father, earning a chuckle from all for one and embarrassing Midoriya slightly. Turning on his heel before leaving, Midoriya looked toward Gyro. Feedback. You're in charge of operations here while myself and Tamura are gone. Kurogiri will advise you when needed. Do not disappoint me. Giving his warning, Midoriya vanished through a warp gate with Shigaraki and Hisashi. As the trio exited the warp gate, Hisashi wrapped gently around Midoriya's neck, becoming a form of slimy scarf. The three approached a seemingly deserted industrial warehouse district, only to be approached from the shadows by 2 thugs. The thugs' bodies collapsed to the floor with a thud. Their heads soon joined their bodies on the floor as Midoriya's claw pack released them. So Izuku, how'd it feel? You know, helping Dabai burn Edgeshot's agency to the ground, killing all those heroes inside, turning Edgeshot into a part of your Namu, not to mention killing Stain. Yeah, I kinda figured you were the one who actually did it. I mean, hey, the kid who got the blame and credit, sure, he's a killer now, but back in that moment, Stain had a lot more time left before his heart mysteriously stopped. I know only one guy who can crush a heart and stop it working. Seriously, man, quit stealing ways to kill people from TV and movies. Shigaraki casually spoke to Midoriya as the two of them disintegrated more oncoming thugs and hired mercs there to defend Nine's little hideout. Nine sat in an old warehouse going over some maps, sat with 3 other villains, Slice, Chimera, and Mummy. The warehouse was filled with various thugs and mercs. Chimera lit a cigar, grunting. The hell is taking this guy so damn long? Seriously, his mercs showed up faster than him. The wolf-headed man growled as he finished his cigar, just noticing the door behind him opening slowly as 4 figures entered into the room. The villains known as Wolfram, Nabu, Dago, and Swordkill. Speak of the devil. Slice chuckled as she watched the 4 men approach the table she and her compatriots were gathered around. Better have some good intel like we wanted you to get, 9. The League of Villains stunt at Hasu and Edshot's place has made work harder than ever. Wolfram grunted, lighting his own cigarette and offering a light for Chimera's next cigar. 9 quietly pulled a folder and slid it onto the table. The contents were various aerial shots of Island, security codes, and building blueprints. HMPH. Not bad at all. What's the price for all this gonna be, 9? Wolfram read over the building blueprints, smirking as he glanced up at 9, who was pouring 2 glasses of vodka. Pushing the second glass toward Wolfram, 9 spoke up with a grin, holding his glass up. We want in on this little heist. I stumbled on a piece of tech while going over the files, and you're not after it, but I definitely like it for myself. So in exchange for this info, me and my group and I will help you out and get to steal the piece of tech we're after. Does this sound like a fair deal to you? Clinking their glasses together and taking a drink, the 2 men smiled as Wolfram nodded, confirming the deal. Little did the 8 individuals know that one by one their thugs and mercs that dotted the room were being picked off by Midoriya and Hisashi, pulling them up into the rafters and silently ending them. Midoriya quietly sent a signal through his earpiece to Shigaraki to move in. Shigaraki disintegrated the metal gates to the warehouse, exposing himself to the 8 villains around the table. Hisashi smashed into the ground to their left flank, whilst Midoriya floated down to their right. Midroll, Skillshare. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in description below. Sorry to drop in without an invite, 9, but Master wants you gone, and as for you, Wolfram, you just pissed me off, so consider yourself on the kill list too. As Shigaraki distracted the targets, Midoriya sent out a signal requesting reinforcements, not wanting to leave this mission to chance with Wolfram's unexpected arrival. Behind the group now on the kill list, one of Kurogiri's warp gates opened with Dabai, Spinner, Toga, Ida, and Hagakure pouring from it. Almost in the blink of an eye, Hisashi charged Mummy and Nabu. Wasting no time, Hisashi transformed into a puddle of sludge that gathered beneath the two villains before exploding into spikes that quickly impaled them both. Their bodies fell to the floor as Hisashi reformed and went for a punch towards Dago. The man quickly activated his quirk, shapeshifting into a hulking purple-skinned beast, but it did little against Hisashi's punch, which sent Dago across the room, but he quickly recovered and the two titans began to clash, fighting for dominance. Toga and Hagakure gave each other a nod and ran at Slice. Toga stabbed at the woman relentlessly and without mercy using her knife, whilst Hagakure activated her glove's retractable claws and activated her invisibility, performing hit-and-run attacks on the sharp-haired female. "Oh, is that how we're gonna play, you brats? Fine, I'll play hide and seek." Spinning into a saw blade of sharpened hair and kicks, Slice kicked out at Toga, knocking her down onto her back and cutting both Toga and a fleeing Hagakure, who was leaving behind a trail of blood. As Slice loomed over the two wounded League members, she prepared to go in for the killing blow, only for the sound of a gunshot to ring out from the distance. Slice quickly collapsed to the ground as an all-too-familiar voice cheered and degraded his own shot. "Well, yeah, boom, headshot. That shot sucked. We could have done better," Twice chanted over everyone's earpieces, after successfully firing a sniper round into Slice's cranium, taking her down permanently. As the battles around them went on, Swordkill battled against a surprisingly well-trained spinner and Ada, who used his own blade to attack Swordkill every time he rushed past. Unable to hold the two off any longer, Swordkill suffered a slash across both his Achilles heels from Ada's blade, bringing the man to his knees. Spinner stared the man in the eyes before delivering the final blow, tutting as his body slumped to the floor. "You died because you lacked conviction. You never stood a chance against us." Spinner glared at the body, disgusted as he spoke, then turning to Ada and giving a nod of approval to his pupil in blade combat. Dago and Hisashi wrestled against one another, only for Hisashi to start grinning at him. "Time, stop holding back." Hisashi, getting bored of you, growling at his foe. Dago pushed hard against Hisashi's grip, only to witness muscle fibers begin to wrap around and strengthen the monster's arms and hands, which Hisashi promptly used to break Dago's arms with. With a weakened enemy, Hisashi sprouted wings, flying high up into the rafters, then jumping down and smashing his full weight onto Dago, crushing Diaga's bones and organs. Turning around, Hisashi witnessed Dabai going toe-to-toe with Chimera and charged in to assist. Dabai had been combating Chimera one-on-one, but after forcing Chimera to activate his quirk to its fullest, he was losing and couldn't last much longer. However, reinforcements came to his aid as sniper shots echoed out as Twice fired round after round at the wolf-headed villain, staggering him only a little. Ada and Spinner sliced at Chimera, leaving behind minor cuts that the villain just shrugged off as if they were nothing. However, once Hisashi grappled Chimera, the fight was won, and everyone in the league knew it. Chimera felt sludge seeping into his wounds. Everyone backed off as Chimera had multiple spikes of sludge burst from his body, severely wounding him. As Hisashi made his escape from Chimera's body, Dabai used his quirk to burn the powerhouse of a villain known as Chimera, and with the help of Hisashi's fire breath, Chimera was reduced to nothing but a pile of embers. Ever since the fight began, Midoriya and Shigaraki teamed up and worked together to take down both Wolfram and Nine, using the fact the two didn't have as good group cohesion together as Midoriya and Shigaraki against them. The two would swap out and switch targets when needed. Midoriya had shattered Nine's equipment that he had mounted to his back, which definitely inflicted some damage, and as for Wolfram, Midoriya left his every ranged attack useless. Shigaraki ran perfect interference, stopping Nines from charging up and using his more powerful quirks, keeping the multi-quirk user on the defensive and keeping Wolfram constantly on his toes and out of melee combat. Eventually, Nine and Wolfram hit their limits, Shigaraki using this opportunity to tackle Wolfram and grab him by the neck with both hands, disintegrating him almost instantly, whilst Midoriya pulled in a weakened Nine and plunged his claw into Nine, grasping his heart with its cold metal claws. "OMGH, what are you? No matter. Arg, if I'm dying, I'll take you with me." Quickly, veins of purple spread across Nine's body and face as his eyes glowed red. Two massive blue serpent heads burst from Nine's back and bit into Midoriya, keeping him in place. Then bolt after bolt of lightning rained down upon them both until finally Nine ceased breathing and his quirks deactivated. As Nine's limp body fell backwards, it exposed the hole in his chest, whilst Midoriya's claw pack clutched his heart. "What am I? I'm everything you should have been. You pathetic failure." Midoriya coldly spoke through a damaged mask with a no longer functional voice changer, his body showing no signs of damage thanks to the regeneration quirk. Midoriya's lab coat was slightly damaged by the onslaught of lightning, but besides that, Midoriya stood tall over the now deceased Nine. After ordering Hisashi and Dabai to burn the warehouse, the League made their escape after requesting a warp gate from Kurogiri, but not before Toga and Hagakure swiped the plans and various files Wolfram and Nine were using to plan their little raid on Island. Like clockwork, the news featured the events at the warehouse district. It looked like some news helicopters played it smart and took recordings from a distance to stay out of the fight zone while the League was fighting. So in the end, the League was identified as the cause of the fighting and the arson, but everyone remained clueless as to who was being attacked and why. Not to mention it seemed Midoriya, Ada, and Hagakure remained unseen by the cameras, a feat easier achieved for one of the three. Izuku, Tamura, I will be tasking you both with a new mission, however everyone will be tasked with this one. Thanks to the recovered intelligence gifted to me by young Himiko and Toro, I believe we should launch a full-scale attack on Ai Island, but our goal isn't to steal anything. No, we are going to kill 2 heroes who will be attending a special event there. All Might and Endeavor. Outro. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We The Celestials has got you covered. Are We The Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We The Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.